On this show, we cover some sensitive topics.
Though the obituaries may be outlandish, the people are real.
Names have been changed or omitted in order to respect both the deceased and the survived by.
While death is no laughing matter, some petty last words can provide some pretty entertaining comic relief.
Welcome to Obituary. Welcome back to Obituary. I'm Spencer Henry.
And I'm Madison Reyes.
And over here, this might be your first time listening to Obituary podcast, and you think, what am I getting myself into? My barber told me to listen to this. My friend, my sister-in-law was like, hey, check out this podcast. I think you'll like it.
You're in for it if you are into wellness.
We have three things we're about at Obituary. That is dedication, that is mental strength training, and that is athleticism. Those are our kind of core, what we like to call our core fundamentals.
Our core values. We don't promote any type of ego here.
We don't want to see you throwing your weights across, not here.
We are non-judgmental, no negativity. Okay,
Correct.
We are just here to work.
Yes. You put the work in and we'll show you the results.
Mm-hmm.
You put the work in.
And we'll show you the results.
Okay?
Okay? So please, if you're ready to take this journey with us, then keep listening.
Ooh. And if you're not ready yet, life's short.
And it'll be a lot shorter with clogged arteries.
Oh, shit. Well, not looking good for us over here.
Okay, because, honey.
You guys are going to love this. So, Madison, you called me yesterday.
I called him yesterday. I don't know if it was the blue moon or if it was hormones. I don't know, but I was in a rut.
She was feeling blue.
I couldn't get up to do anything. I felt sad, but I felt more like foggy. And was like, I gotta get out of the house. I gotta go for a walk or something. And so I called you and you rushed on over. You said, I'll be there in 10 minutes. We just took the dogs on a walk and we talked
about life and what we want from our relationship. No, but we were just talking about, just life shit.
We both have, I think, imposter syndrome. And there are moments where I'm like, am I not doing enough? Or, I
think everyone gets into ruts like that. And especially we started out having such a crazy beginning of the year. Mm-hmm. It's also, we are working on so many behind the scenes things for later on that we can't talk about. And that's the kind of shit where, I don't know. It can be weird sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I was telling Madison, I was like, yeah, I've been kind of feeling like that too. And I have some goals that I really want to work on. And one of them is this gym that is pretty close to us. And they do big transformations and all of that. And I was like, I've been thinking about signing up. And you were like,
all right, I'll do it. I'll fucking do it.
So we decided, right then and there, we booked a consultation for today. This was yesterday. 12 o'clock today, I pick up Madison, we go to the gym, we meet with the owner, and we go over all our goals. And
he knows about my horrible sleep schedule, and he straight up said, he's like, we're not nocturnal. You gotta fix that.
He was just so awesome.
Awesome. He was so positive and just, when you meet someone and you're like, oh, they're genuinely a nice person.
Yeah, and I think it's because he's from Minnesota, he said.
Yeah.
We know Minnesota's got some good peeps.
Yep.
We were talking to him though, and we sat down, he's like, all right, so, well, initially I will say, it was something we were hoping that Madison and I could do together because we very much
are codependent.
Yeah, we try and do everything together.
Yeah.
We have the twin bond. I feel like we have to do everything at the same time together.
Yeah.
And we sat down and he's like, all right, so what are your goals? And I was like, listen, I need to gain weight. I said, I want to be hot. I want to be buff and hot.
And what else did you say?
Well, we sat down and he's like, what are we working on? He's like, tell me about you guys. And I was like, well, I'm gay.
I said, I'm fat.
And we said, help us. We learned via this consultation that unfortunately we're not addressing the same problem because
he said we're on the opposite ends of the spectrum. Once we start to meet in the middle a little bit, then we can do classes together.
Yes, but for now we're going to do just like individual sessions with the trainers.
You want to gain, I want to lose.
And we're going to see how it goes.
Mm-hmm. I signed up for a 30-day thing. You're on a 90-day thing. After my 30 days, I'll add more, obviously. But I am very excited.
We're excited, and we were like, it could be such a sensitive topic for some people, but it's a big thing that we're doing, and so hopefully it's motivating if you've been like thinking about trying something new to be like, hey, I'm gonna fucking do it.
Yeah, when we get the results, I will post before and afters, everything.
We talked to them because we were like signing all the agreements, and we were like,
there's a photo waiver.
We were like, what's this photo policy, sir? I said, where are these pictures going? We were like, can you wait until we have an after?
Please, to post anything.
Oh my God, imagine.
Oh my God. But we addressed literally everything.
Oh, we were there for like an hour and a half, just having the time of our lives.
Oh my God. One thing that I really loved, and you Geoffs will love it because of my ankle. He addressed my ankle, and I told him how I sprained it and how I just sprain it all the time now. And he's like, well, did you get any physical therapy for it? I'm like, no, I just fucking went on about my business. And he's like, you're totally overcompensating in other areas for it. And he's like, we're going to address that. We're going to get that ankle strong.
Oh, just wait for our revenge bodies that are coming to you.
My ankles are just massive, strong muscles.
Yeah, they have like biceps on them.
Yeah.
Big veiny ankles. Whoa, who's that?
Girl,
buff ankles girl.
Ankle implants?
You're just like jumping on stage from like the green room.
Yeah. Oh my God.
You're just like lifting stuff up.
I hope so. And we talked about this, like, as we get older too, it's not even about the physical appearance. It's about feeling better.
And also, I want to look good.
Well, yes, of course. Of course. But we really just dove in, and we have sessions, we have meal plans, we have everything.
Oh my God, yeah. We're talking a lot of the week.
We're talking a lot of money too. Can we be real?
Oh my God, it's expensive.
Jesus. But you know what? I was talking to one of my girlfriends, and she's like, yeah, but you spend money on this, so you don't have to spend money on medications later.
Boom. Mic drop.
Okay.
No, but really, I think it's important to. I never feel guilty if I'm doing something for my health. Like, even I used to do SoulCycle all the fucking time. Mm-hmm. And that was like $40-something a class. And if I went like 3 times, I mean, that's a lot of money if you go multiple times a week. But it was always like, well, it's something good for me. So I'm never going to like.
Never regret it. So we have personal trainers now.
Yeah.
Also, can we please talk about, he was like, okay, everything's signed. Now we're going to weigh you in. Now we're going to take your body fat percentage.
You guys, the results was shocking. Okay.
About 50% of my body is fat.
So there was like this crazy machine. We had to like get on it, and it weighs you, it measures you, it like has all this crazy data that it pulls. And there's this one part where it's like calculating your body fat, and it plays a little jingle. It's like,
oh my God. I went first, and I was standing there. And it like started going up, and I was like, ooh, okay, that's not bad. And then I was like, Kate, why is it not stopping? Why does the number keep going up? What is going on?
She played an encore.
She did.
She was like, I got another song in me. She said, hold on, hold this beat. Oh, God.
But it was cool because it showed you like your overall weight, but then how much each leg weighed, how much weight you're storing in your trunk, which was most of it.
The trunk is full, honey. Yeah, okay.
The trunk.
I grew up in a household, like, for a while, it was me, my mom, and my sister after my dad died. And then I have a younger sister and stuff. My mom never allowed scales to be in the house because she was
so
like,
smart.
Why? You know?
Yeah.
I think if I had kids, I'd be like, yeah, I don't want you to fucking obsess over your weight or anything either. Like, obviously there's benefits from working out physically, but yeah, I think mentally it's like even just getting outside and fucking walking or doing something active.
Yeah. Oh, I felt 100 times better after we just went for a walk last night.
Sometimes you just need a walk with your girly. But anyways, it was awesome. So we'll update you guys. I promise you we're not going to be those fucking people. We'll update you in like a month and let you know how it's going.
We do have an Instagram page for all of our
Yeah, follow OBITCH Keto Fitness, CrossFit to see us do lots of jumping.
Box jumps. We're going to snatch.
We're going to roll. We're going to take those big fucking ropes and we're just going to...
Oh, there were so many ropes hanging from the ceiling there.
I want to climb them.
Ooh.
You
asked me, you said, do you think you could climb one right now? I said, I could barely climb those stairs.
Okay, other thing. Oh, last week we posted on Patreon, but we went to the Zach Bryan concert, which was...
Oh my God.
a religious experience, I would say.
We had the best time.
And if you want to know what happened to Madison, go to Patreon.
Yep, go on over there.
Check it out. Oh, God. It was such a fucking good concert, though.
It was, and he brought out Maggie Rogers for the song that we both love.
Dawn. Yeah, that was incredible. It was just a great night. We stayed till the end.
I know.
Which we're notorious for leaving.
We don't want to fight any crowds.
But we stayed till that very end.
But we kind of have like a little parking lot that we like to park in over there.
Yeah, we got some secrets.
We do, so...
Well, we had gone to a hockey game there a couple months ago. All good. And then I was in San Francisco this past weekend.
With Leo.
Baby nephew Leo, who's so cute. He'll be at our live show, which is coming up. And my sister showed me his outfit for it.
Oh my God.
You'll die. I have to show you a picture of it.
Can't wait.
So excited. So we have that show. And then we also have our show in Florida.
Florida, we're coming. We are coming October 26th. Go to obituarypodcast.com to get tickets. And we are just so excited.
So excited. Leo might be at that one too.
I can't
coincidentally,
wait.
But it's going to be so much fun. That's all I really have to report on. You got anything before we get started?
Well, I sure do. I have a listener email that cracked me up.
Let's hear it.
I wasn't sure whether I put it at Dumbass Criminal or if I put it here, but I chose to put it here. So
okay.
It says, "Hey, Madison, Spencer, and all the pups. I'm re-listening to some older episodes and was reminded of a funny story about my grandfather. The first thing you need to know is that he's a huge cheapskate. Like so much that when we were kids, he wanted to save the wrapping paper from our Christmas gifts. So when my mom was a kid and my grandparents had gotten divorced, my grandfather still wanted to get my grandmother something for her birthday and for Mother's Day, mostly for the benefit of my mom and uncle, I think. When those times of year rolled around, my grandfather would pack up my mom and uncle and head over to the local graveyard and pick some fresh flowers from the headstones. He said, they're dead, they don't need them anymore, and nobody's going to know.
Oh no, that's a ticket to hell, buddy.
My mom was mortified, but never had the heart to tell my grandmother where the flowers came from. Anyway, thank you both for everything you do. I love your podcast and your friendship. From Jess B. You can say my name."
I think that actually belongs in Am I the Assholes?
It does. I know.
Unfortunately, you cannot fucking do that.
I know.
You cannot do that. But speaking of, we actually have somebody sent to our email an Am I the Asshole?
Oh, okay.
All the way from South Africa. So this is a Geoff, Am I the Asshole? It says, "Hi, Spencer and Madison. Warm regards from South Africa. First of all, I would like to say thank you for the comfort your podcast has brought me and all the laughs. I would like to stay anonymous for my story due to some of the details. Am I the asshole for going no contact with my mother after my grandfather's death?"
Okay.
For some background, I was legally adopted by my grandparents, and I consider them wholeheartedly as my parents for all the love and kindness that they raised me with.
Aww.
Unfortunately, my grandfather passed away earlier this year, and it left me devastated. I'm sorry.
I know.
I had to fly across the country for his funeral, and when I arrived, I was met by my biological mother trying to be all nice and friendly towards me. We've had a really bad relationship due to her being extremely abusive and a narcissist. For my grandfather's sake, I buried the hatchet and kept the peace for my grandmother's part, as her and my grandfather were married for 52 years and she's dealing with enough as it is. I was asked by my grandmother if I'd be okay with speaking on her behalf and also doing the memorial service as well, and of course I agreed. My grandpa was everything. The man was my father. I wrote a beautiful poem for him as well. The evening rolls around of the night before the funeral, and my mother, for some reason, decided it's a great opportunity to become drunk and start lashing out at me, her brother, and sister. She started going on about how I'm just gay for attention, and that myself, my uncle, and my aunt are excluding her from everything. When we asked her to help with any of the things for the service, she said that she would, and then would proceed to sit on her ass and drink another glass of wine. She started going on about how no one is being sympathetic because she lost her father, as if he's not all of ours. As if that's not enough, she started cussing my grandmother out about how she's a terrible mother, and something in that moment snapped in me, and I took her wine away and proceeded to tell her how we're all suffering immensely due to the light my grandfather was, and that not everything is about her, and she should go to bed because she's very drunk and she's making things worse. She started going on about how she should have aborted me and that she doesn't love me, etc., etc. When I didn't give her any reaction, she tried to hit me, but in response, my aunt pushed her away and pulled her outside to talk to her.
Oh, God.
If all of this wasn't traumatic already, she decided to bring her boy toy with, the man she cheated on with while still legally married to her husband, and she last minute decided on the day of the funeral she also wanted to say a few words in memoriam.
Oh, no.
God, she proceeded to fling herself,
oh no,
oh shit, on top of my grandfather's coffin and start scream crying, but not a single tear came out, and gave a speech about how his kindness ran into her and how she was his favorite.
What?
What the fuck? After the funeral, I completely cut her off and went full no contact. So am I the asshole for going no contact? Love your show. Kind regards. Geoff.
Geoff, you are not an asshole. I unfortunately think that your mother is a stereotypical narcissist. And is extremely toxic.
And she is the asshole.
The asshole.
That's our judgment.
God, I'm sorry.
So sorry for that. And I mean, she just sounds like somebody that isn't adding anything positive to your life. And I am fully of the belief that blood is thicker than water is an old trope. I don't believe in that personally. I think there's plenty of people. I consider you my family more than
Absolutely.
I consider people that I probably share blood with.
Right.
It's just bullshit. No, cut her off. If someone's not adding anything to your life and they're only subtracting from it, why?
Not only subtracting from it, but causing you so much grief.
Yeah. During an already hard time, like people
Yeah.
that don't know how to set aside their own shit during times like that, like you tried to set it aside, to be respectful to your grandparents and like, okay, I'm not going to make this about my relationship with my mom.
Yeah.
And then she probably, of course, became this fucking nightmare. So no, I don't blame you one little bit.
And thank God for your grandparents.
Not the asshole.
Not the asshole.
Then I have another one. Says, am I the asshole for, this is not from a Geoff, for implying to my coworker that I please myself when my husband is away?
Okay.
Says, I have been at this company for about 2 years now, and one of my coworkers, John, and I have become pretty good friends and get along well. We are both happily married and just friends, though we do catch up on life during work hours. My husband has been away on a business trip for 2 weeks now. John and I were chatting in the office this morning, and I mentioned to him that I've been at my house alone for the past week and pretty bored without my husband. He asked me what I do to pass the time and that I must be a bit pent up with my husband gone for that long. I was surprised he said that, but I feel comfortable enough around him that it didn't bother me, and I chalked it up to playful banter. I jokingly told him that I know exactly how to please myself when my husband's away. He got really awkward and uncomfortable, and we've been distant since. I just checked my inbox, and there was a meeting on my calendar from HR. I tried to message John, but he's not responding. And my manager came by my desk and told me that my behavior is ridiculous and to not speak to John until I'm told otherwise. Am I the asshole?
I mean, you're inappropriate. You shouldn't be saying that.
No, totally. And I agree with that. But I'm also... I'm not like excusing it, but I feel like we've all probably had jobs where you make like a work friend, you know, and you feel like it intertwines. If they become a personal friend or whatever, and you talk shit or whatever. She added an update that said, I just got off of my meeting with HR. I was able to convince everyone that it was just a misunderstanding and that I meant I can entertain myself while my husband is away. It's interesting though. John didn't bring up his comment in the HR complaint. I brought that up myself and he got scared and began to say that he meant it that I must be bored in the house all alone with nothing to do. I let him have it. They won't be pursuing a formal investigation because they're chalking it up to a misunderstanding, but they are keeping everything on record in case anything happens again. They're moving John to a different team temporarily, and my manager apologized to me for being harsh with me earlier. I will not be speaking or interacting with John going forward.
My gut is telling me that there's more to this story. That maybe either her comment was worse or there's a little more flirtation going on.
Yeah, maybe a little flirtation or maybe just like work. But it's just weird to me that he would go to HR like that. You know what I mean?
So maybe her comment was gnarly.
I think that's also just me being anti-authority. Like I always have an opposition to authority. I'm like, oh, come on.
I don't know.
But also it is workplace harassment. So who fucking knows?
And it can happen to men.
Also really embarrassing probably though for her.
So embarrassing.
Because picture you think you have this good little work relationship, like this banter, and you're like, oh, I can take care of myself. I know how to take care of myself when my husband's gone. Thank you very much. And then the being like, oh.
Yeah. That's where I feel like, oh, fuck. I feel bad for her if that's how it went down.
Because I would feel like the biggest pervert weirdo in the world.
Yeah.
But I also do think that it's important to like have a line at work, which is something I learned when I got older. Because I feel like when you're young at work, you complain about your husband or boyfriend or whatever. And then it's kind of like awkward and it's just, I don't know. People don't need to know.
We don't have a line. Or do we? Oh, we've got a line.
We do?
I'm kidding.
Oh,
well, I'm asking
what
you.
is it? No, I don't think so. That's different though.
Way different. We're married.
We always laugh. We're like going in, like, because of course we have to we're just idiots. And we're like driving over there today. We're like, okay, so what do you think? He's going to say hi. And then what are we going to say? How are we going to explain our relationship? You're like, well, just tell him we're married and that you're gay and that we have a lot going on.
God. Well, we do have a lot going on this episode.
We do.
Okay, and I'm up first, which means you should have a side bitch.
I sure do. This is from the Weekly Expositor.
Okay.
June 19th, 1891. And it says, Curious Cause of Death. A schoolgirl in France died recently from a curious cause. At the distribution of prizes, she obtained a laurel wreath colored green. She thoughtlessly put the painted leaves in her mouth and died afterward from the effect of the poison.
Oh, God. It was probably arsenic paint or some shit.
Yeah, that was my first thought, too. I was like, oh, shit.
People need to stop putting stuff in their mouth.
Don't put it in your mouth.
God, and that's going to bring us to my coffin spinner. So
Okay, perfect. Well, we'll hear it right after this quick break.
Okay, today I want to talk about something that literally freaks me the fuck out, and that is choking. Not being choked by someone, rather having something lodged in your throat that obstructs your airway and you die. It just seems like such a horrible thing. We know I love the Heimlich remover, Spencer.
Yes.
But I thought today that we would look at some famous stories about people choking to death, which is just lovely. But I do think it's important to talk about because it seems like such a horrible way to go. Dr. Henry Heimlich invented the Heimlich maneuver, and it was first used and described in 1974. I read an article on PBS that explained how in 1972, choking deaths were the 6th most common cause of an accidental death. That meant about 3,000 people a year died from accidental choking, which is fucking terrible. In that article, they also talked about a term that I've never heard before called café coronary. And that basically is a term that means that someone had choked on food, and it usually took place in a restaurant. And when someone's having a café coronary, they look like they're having a heart attack. PBS also explained how before the Heimlich maneuver was invented, it was commonplace to hit the person hard on the back, I guess thinking it would dislodge something, but instead in the 70s they said that actually pushes whatever is stuck down further, making the airway even more clogged. So Henry Heimlich researched a new way to help someone who was choking, and he first worked on dogs, so fuck him, but then he went on to see how it worked in humans, and it did work. And from that article it says, quote, "Place the thumb side of your fist before the rib cage, just above the belly button. Grasp the fist with the other hand and press the fist inward and upward. Perform it firmly and smoothly and repeat until choking object is dislodged." So Henry wrote an essay called Pop Goes the Café Coronary and published it in 1974 in an issue of Emergency Medicine where he talked about this new invention. It caught on and it saved a ton of people's lives. In 1976, the guidelines for helping someone choking were to first do the back blows and then to move on to the Heimlich if that didn't work. And then from 1986 to 2005, the back blows were removed and it was just the Heimlich maneuver. But now the American Red Cross says to bend someone over and do 5 back blows. Then if that doesn't work, do 5 abdominal thrusts, which is basically the Heimlich maneuver, and then alternate between the two until the object is out of the airway. I am not an expert. Spencer, we should get certified in not only CPR, but also the Heimlich maneuver because it's so important to know. Unfortunately, choking is now the 4th most common way someone accidentally dies. In 2021, according to the National Safety Council, 5,325 people died in the U.S. from choking. And the rates at which people choked were higher in people over the age of 71, which I also read had a lot to do with obviously food, but also dentures were a risk factor. Other factors can be eating too quickly and not thoroughly chewing your food, not sitting while eating, or even laying down while you're eating. And hot dogs are the most fatal food, apparently.
Slippery little fellers.
Uh-huh. So what does it feel like to choke? Grunge.com. It's terrible, but I mean,
sure
come on.
I could imagine how that would feel.
Terrible.
Uh-huh.
Grunge.com did an amazing article on basically what happens when someone chokes. And they said, quote, "Choking occurs when the epiglottis fails in its usual job of preventing food from entering the trachea. On entering the windpipe, a morsel can cut off the supply of air to the lungs. If a simple eruption of coughing doesn't free said blockage, the body begins a series of awful and involuntary processes in an attempt to save itself," which just sounds terrible.
Yeah.
They also talk about how your brain starts to die after 5 minutes without oxygen, and in less than 10 minutes, brain death can occur. When you're choking, you can't breathe or even cough, and your natural instinct is usually to grab your throat. Another natural response is cyanosis, which is when you start to turn blue as a response to not having enough oxygen in your blood. And then they talk about how when our body is going through this, the trachea will shut down and become tight so that nothing else can come in and cause blockages as like a way to protect itself. But that actually makes things worse because it makes it harder to dislodge what's in there. So it's very terrible and so traumatic. So let's talk about some instances of that.
Yeah.
First, we have Alexander Alekhine. And Alexander was born in 1892. He was an incredible chess player. He was the 4th world chess champion from 1927 to 1935, and then again in 1937 to 1946, which was the year that he died. He's the only chess champion to have died while holding that title. However, he allegedly had Nazi affiliation and he wasn't invited to chess tournaments after World War II. There are other stories that he didn't have affiliation, but he did comply with Nazis because his wife was French and wanted to protect her. I don't know. He has a very long life story. Either way, on March 24th, 1946, Alexander was found dead, sitting in a chair with room service in front of him because he was in a hotel in Portugal. And then Spencer, here is a photo of him dead. That's what he looked like.
Sleepy.
Just sitting in a chair, kind of slumped over, looked peaceful. A waiter came into his room that morning to bring him breakfast, but noticed that he was obviously sitting there and the dinner from the night before was still there. There was a bunch of plates in front of him and a chessboard. His autopsy revealed that he had a piece of unchewed meat that was about 3 inches long lodged in his windpipe.
Isn't that scary that could just be
So
what
scary.
kills you? Eating?
I know.
My God.
Many people in the chess community debate whether his death was actually due to choking or something more sinister. There were reports that he was dead broke before his death and that he could barely afford cigarettes.
What's he doing ordering all this room service?
I know. Some people think that he was murdered, not in his hotel room, but later staged in his hotel room. Others talk about his severe depression and his cirrhosis of the liver and that he most likely killed himself. But I was reading and they did make a good point. And I don't know if we should post this picture or not. Maybe not, but Google it because he looks so peaceful. And somebody brought up, like, wouldn't you be frantically trying to get this thing out of you or like maybe passed out somewhere?
God.
Like he does look staged.
Honestly, this is the alternate ending to the Queen's Gambit that we never got.
That was such a good show.
Yeah.
There's also something called a French Death Squad, which was a group created by the French resistance to go after people who complied with Nazis. So there's theories there that they actually killed him. But his autopsy revealed that there was just meat in his windpipe.
Damn, meat in the windpipe. Been there, but
Meat in the... Been there, done that, honey.
bought the t-shirt, babe.
And then we have Tommy Dorsey. Tommy was born in 1905, and he is best known for his time as a band leader, composer, and trombone player during the big band era. If you heard one of his songs, you'd know it, but people called him the sentimental gentleman of swing. In the 50s, he was obviously so successful, but he started taking sleeping pills pretty regularly to help him sleep. And on November 26th, 1956, at age 51, Tommy was found in his bed at his 23-room home in Connecticut. The sleeping pills sedated him so much that allegedly he had eaten a big meal the night before and then went to sleep, took his sleeping pills, and then choked in the middle of the night on his food from the night before. Like, I guess it regurgitated.
He threw up or something? Mm-hmm. And, oh, shit.
His business manager found him, and the autopsy reported that he was strangled by food particles, according to a New York Times article from that year. And it was also noted in that newspaper clipping that his bottle of sleeping pills was found in his bathroom empty. So maybe, who knows if it was...
Conspiracies.
I guess, I don't know. But I also just think it's fucking scary how our bodies choke.
Yeah.
It just seems so...
It would be such a helpless feeling.
Yeah. Okay, and then lastly, we have Tennessee Williams, and he was born in 1911, and he's best known as being a screenwriter and playwright. I think his most famous work was A Streetcar Named Desire, and then also A Cat on a Hot Tin Roof. Mm-hmm. His sister Rose, Spencer, you talked about her. She suffered from schizophrenia and underwent a lobotomy.
Right.
He was very close with her.
Oh my God, remember those episodes?
Yes. He was also a homosexual.
Oh, God. And he never got cured before he went.
He should have had that lobotomy too.
Yeah.
His longtime lover of about 14 years, Frank Merlo, died in 1963 after a long battle with lung cancer. And this really sent Tennessee into a spiral of depression and drug abuse. And on February 25th, 1983, Tennessee Williams died.
I didn't realize that he was alive that long.
Mm-hmm. He was 71 years old and was found in his hotel room in New York. At the time of his death, he was heavily using barbiturates, and he was administering them via nasal spray. And this is where the choking comes in. Allegedly, he had accidentally inhaled the little cap on the nasal spray bottle, and he choked on it and died.
Oh my God.
Then it was stated that he actually was using a plastic cap to take the barbiturates, so maybe he was taking them orally. Either way, he actually died of toxic levels of this certain barbiturate.
Wait, I'm sorry not to laugh, but I didn't know what your coffin spinner was, but you called me.
Oh, yeah. Who did I say?
You called me like 2 nights ago. It was the Dial M for Murder who wrote.
I was saying Truman Capote.
Yeah. You were like, Truman Capote. Did you know that Truman Capote died from swallowing a pill? And I was like, I don't think that's what happened. And you were like, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty fucking sure. By the way, have you ever seen Dial M for Murder? It is such a good movie.
I've read the book.
Oh, well, Alfred Hitchcock did the movie, and it's fucking good.
So good.
So it wasn't Truman Capote, it was Tennessee Williams.
Now it's all making sense to me.
No, it is. In an article on CBS News, they said, quote, when this happened, John Uecker, who was his companion and assistant at the time, was still around and told the New York City medical examiner, look, people are going to think it's suicide or AIDS or something bizarre, and we don't know what happened. So the medical examiner said, okay, he choked on a bottle cap. But really, his body just gave up, and the eventual diagnosis was intolerance to the barbiturates. So, like, the medical examiner just said, okay.
All right, why not? Hey, that's how we do things over here.
Wild. I was reading about Tennessee Williams, and he had strict rules in his will for when he died and his whole burial.
Ooh.
He wanted a burial at sea, and he wanted his body to get sewn up in a canvas sack and then dumped in the ocean, closest to where this famous poet had died by suicide in the sea. Oh. And that famous poet was Hart Crane, and he was a famous poet. He was also gay, and it's sad. He was beat up for being gay. Like he has a very sad story, but he's very talented. But at age 32, he jumped off a boat in the Gulf of Mexico, and everybody knows that it's suicide. He didn't leave a note or anything, but I guess when he jumped off, he said, goodbye, everybody.
Oh, see you later.
And then I think it's his dad passed away, and he has a gravestone. He's buried somewhere, but it also says Hart Crane, and then his birth and death dates, and it says lost at sea.
Wow.
So just be careful, guys.
Be careful for sure.
It's fucking scary.
Yes.
I mean, we could get into so many more people, and a lot of famous people have died choking on their own vomit from a drug overdose, but I wanted to get into the food related and just the objects.
We also need you guys to settle something for us. When Madison was talking about the Heimlich maneuver, we were looking at each other, and I was like, Madison, I feel like you've talked about this before. And she's like, we cannot find it anywhere. Have we talked about the Heimlich maneuver prior to this episode? Because we know one time we said Heimlich remover instead of Heimlich maneuver, but we have no idea when or what that is. So we need one of you Geoffs or all of you to tell us in the comments.
Well, you look for that. We're going to go on a quick break and then hear what had you spinning this week, Spence.
All right, we'll be right back.
And we're back. Spencer, what had you spinning this week?
Well, I have another thing for us to fear, and that is the fear of flying.
Oh, God, I already have that fear.
No, aerophobia, the fear of flying, is a type of anxiety disorder involving the extreme sense of fear and panic some people experience when they fly or anticipate flying. So just even thinking about it, which I feel like is a pretty common fear. Especially, I think a lot of people I know that have a fear of flying, it's because they didn't fly maybe when they were kids a lot. And like it was just like so they kind of built it up to be this thing. I know I've definitely had bouts, like especially I used to travel for work a lot. And I guess we travel for this a lot. And I think there's times where, there's a lot of turbulence on the flight, or there's been times I remember for my last job, I had to fly and there was like a bomb threat at LAX.
Oh, God.
That was going on. And we were all just sitting there waiting for the plane to take off. Like, why are all the cops here? What's going on?
Yeah.
But for the most part, I don't really get that nervous. But many people experience nervousness or anxiety when they fly. The crowded space, the turbulence, the sensations of taking off and landing. But some people experience an extreme sense of fear or panic when they fly, and they avoid flying altogether. If they must get on a plane, then they are likely to experience panic attacks or intense symptoms of anxiety. And this fear is known as aerophobia, and it affects roughly 20 million Americans, which is a lot.
Yeah.
There's no specific cause of aerophobia. The fear usually originates from a combination of things. Like their fear of heights can genetically be inherited, or the fear of flying may be modeled to kids by their parents. Increased exposure to media that show plane crashes or other incidents may also play a role. So if you're fucking sitting scrolling on TikTok and you see plane crashes and stuff, it's probably not going to make you feel real good about it. But the longer a person avoids flying, the more this fear increases. Sometimes this fear is also associated with other phobias, such as the fear of vomiting, ironically, which is emetophobia, the fear of heights, acrophobia, or the fear of enclosed spaces, claustrophobia. And sometimes if you work like with a therapist on those phobias, like a lot of times your aerophobia will go away. But this should ease some of that discomfort. This is from PBS. This guy, David Ropiak, talked about the riskiness of flying and said, trying to judge whether a particular risk is big or small is, well, a risky business. There's a lot more to it than you might think. Flying in airplanes is a case in point. You'd think that you could just find out the numbers, the odds, and that would be it. The annual risk of being killed in a plane crash for the average American is about 1 in 11 million. On that basis, the risk looks pretty small. Compare that, for example, to the annual risk of being killed in a motor vehicle crash for the average American, which is about 1 in 5,000.
Oh, fuck.
So statistically, it's like you're much safer on an airplane in the air. I wanted to focus mainly on celebrities that had passed away in plane crashes, because I remember you and I were talking, not on the show, but just in general a couple months ago, about Patsy Cline. I had no idea that she died so young and in a plane crash.
Yeah. I always fucking think about La Bamba.
Well, we're going to talk about it. So AmericanSongwriter.com published an article on different singers who had passed away in plane crashes, and some were actually pretty surprising. They said, unfortunately, plane crashes have taken many more than just a few musicians over the past decades. Here we'll dive into 11 of some of the biggest names. So we're going to go through them. Glenn Miller.
Oh.
I had no idea died in a plane crash.
Yeah, I didn't either.
He was born in 1904 and died in 1944 after his military plane fell from the sky.
Oh, God.
If you don't know who Glenn Miller is, he's like the
big band.
Big band. I know. I was thinking about that when you were doing
Tommy Dorsey.
Also, the best Spotify playlist, if you're like cooking or just cleaning. I love listening to big band radio while I'm doing like house stuff, because it just feels, I don't know, good. But he was en route to Paris, and Glenn Miller, as well as the pilot John Morgan and a passenger Colonel Norman Basel, perished in the crash. Theories have included the plane being shot down or the wings iced over.
Oh.
Regardless, Miller sadly was never seen again. You know what fucks me up is when planes disappear.
Yeah, big fucking time.
How's a plane disappear?
How does that happen?
How does a plane disappear? I also have to say this is also partially brought on because I think I've talked about it here, but I've been binge watching Nashville. Spoiler alert, there's a big plane crash.
Oh.
And it's a private plane, which I do feel like is usually the case for plane crashes in general. Especially in LA, we have so many LAX, Burbank, Long Beach Airport.
Yeah.
A lot of them have flying programs there, especially Burbank.
My nephew before he was in the Air Force, did the flying program at Long Beach. But whenever I talk to my dad about this shit, because we know my husband does not fly. He will
Right.
not get on an airplane. And he'll talk to my dad about it. And my dad flew commercially for TWA, which is now American, for years. He never, I've asked him, I'm like, have you ever experienced anything like scary? He's like, no, not at all, actually. Like,
Bill's a straight shooter.
oh yeah, I know. But I still have a fear of it. I don't like it. I don't like taking off, especially.
You don't like the takeoff, but I will say you've been like fine on all of our flights this year.
And not intoxicated. Didn't drink, didn't take anything. I was just kind of like, because once you're in the plane and you're up there, you're like, well, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
Am I going to freak out? No. So.
But I would say like you have like probably a light, like probably you have like the normal anxiety about it, especially because you didn't fly for a long time before we went on the tour. And then it was like, okay, we're on a plane every other day. So get used to it.
Totally. But I do agree with, well, I've told you my sister and her husband lived in the Caribbean for a while, but they lived on a little island called St. Kitts. And we had to fly to Puerto Rico and then take a little plane to St. Kitts into a tiny airport. I think it had one runway. And I remember feeling on that plane, I was sitting next to my mom and I was like, my head is going to explode.
Oh, yeah.
Something is not right. And sure enough, like the cabin pressure was all fucked up and we had to go back emergency to Puerto Rico and then had to take another plane. And it was
I remember this.
Yeah. Scary.
Absolutely scary. Small planes do freak me out. Like I have no problem with big planes. I've flown many a time. No fear about it really. But tiny planes, I'm always like, ugh.
Don't get me started on a helicopter.
Oh, God.
No way.
I want to go on a helicopter ride.
Too scared.
I almost did it in New York because New York, they have like Uber helicopter.
Yeah.
And it's not expensive.
It's not crazy expensive.
I mean, it's like $200 or something.
Yeah.
But an Uber's fucking $100 to get to the airport. But they pick you up and drop you off. And I actually have a friend who you've met, Aditi. And she and her husband have a place in the Hamptons, but they live in the city. A lot of people will helicopter to the Hamptons.
Oh.
Like a common way to do it.
Crazy. I get it in New York. The traffic is
oh my God.
Crazy.
You think LA traffic's bad? You think your state traffic's bad? New York is another
the worst
fucking beast. I'm an aggressive driver and even I cannot picture driving in New York. Like in the city. No, thanks. Okay, but back to this list. Next up, we have Buddy Holly and Richie Valens, which, of course,
La Bamba,
which is iconic. I feel like everybody has seen or should see that movie. They died together in a plane crash on February 3rd of 1959, and it's become known as the day that music died. They died in a plane crash in Iowa, along with JP, the Big Bopper Richardson, as well as the pilot Roger Peterson. And Valens was just 17 years old at the time of his death, on his way to becoming just a superstar. Yeah. Really sad. And then they list Patsy Cline at number 4. She, I mean, is obviously just a massive country star, but she died when she was just 30 years old when her plane crashed in 1963.
Why did I think she was older than that?
I think I know part of it's the styling of the pictures, but she did photograph older. Like,
beautiful, but older. And the dark hair.
Yeah. And just like the outfits, I don't know. She just looked older than she was. I think that's what shocked me when I found out that one, I didn't know she died in a plane crash. I always thought it was a car accident. And I also had no idea that she was only 30 years old when she died, which is crazy. The flight was headed to Nashville after she had finished a show in Kansas City. Her manager, Ramsey Randy Doris Hughes, was the pilot, and bad weather had caused the plane to stop several times. But finally, after takeoff in Dyersburg, Tennessee, it fell from the sky about 75 miles from Nashville.
Fuck.
I know.
Imagine falling from the sky.
Oh, God, no thanks. Country singer Jim Reeves also died in a plane crash the following year, but he was the pilot of the plane. They were leaving Arkansas with his manager, ran into some bad weather, became disoriented, and the plane crashed going at high speed. And that one, it took several days to locate the wreckage.
Ooh.
Otis Redding.
Oh.
1967, when he was just 26 years old.
Oh, I fully thought he was older, too. no, like he sounds like an old man.
He had left Cleveland to land in Madison, Wisconsin, and then again, bad weather took over. The airplane fell and crashed into Lake Monona. Today, the cause of the crash remains unclear, though some speculate there were engine troubles. Only one person survived, a 20-year-old named Ben Colley. 4 months after the crash, Otis Redding, sitting on the dock of the bay, hit number 1. I'm not going to do all 11, but there's 2 more from that list I wanted to share. There was Leonard Skinner. 3 days after releasing the 5th album, Street Survivors, a plane out of South Carolina heading for Baton Rouge, Louisiana, took members of the legendary Southern rock band Leonard Skinner. The investigation afterwards saw that the plane had run out of fuel, with the pilots not checking the fuel gauges ahead of time. The lead singer, Ronnie Van Zant, guitarist Steve Gaines, and backup singer Cassie Gaines were all killed in the wreckage. Strangely and happily, 20 people on board the plane did survive.
Ooh.
And then we have John Denver.
Oh, he died in a plane crash?
On October 12th of 1997, a home-built aircraft he had recently purchased fell from the sky and plunged into the ocean. He was 53 years old, and he was an experienced pilot, even though, according to this, his license had been suspended following several drunk driving incidents. The investigation after the crash determined Denver probably wanted to switch fuel tanks in flight, but pressed the button for the rudder pedal by mistake, which caused him to lose control of the plane.
I feel like a lot of it's human error.
Oh, wait, actually, I do want to also add Aaliyah, because that's the first one that I remember.
Yes.
That was in 2001. The singer, performer, and actor was just 22 years old when she died. Despite being so young, she had already released 3 best-selling albums. She was also briefly married to R. Kelly, which...
Terrible.
He's horrible. She and her friends had boarded a plane to the Bahamas after shooting a music video, and the plane sadly crashed just after takeoff, killing all on board.
I remember that, and I remember... it was like her team, I believe, who put too much baggage. They like pushed the weight limit.
Well, I had always heard that too, but apparently there was an investigation that revealed the pilot had drugs in his system.
Oh, no.
So I think it was like a combination of that and also the plane being overloaded.
Oh, God.
Sad.
Terrible.
Okay. One person that was left off this list, though, was Jenny Rivera.
I'm sitting here thinking, is he going to talk about the Mariposa de Barrio?
Okay, so All That's Interesting did a really good article inside the tragic death of Jenny Rivera. Okay, so Jenny was just 43 years old and just also kind of on the cusp of being this superstar.
She was a superstar.
When her Learjet unexpectedly went down in Mexico in 2012. On December 9th of 2012, a plane took off from Monterrey, Mexico, en route to the city of Toluca. But shortly after takeoff, the aircraft suddenly plummeted towards the earth, plunging almost vertically and reaching speeds of over 600 miles per hour before it crashed. All 7 people on the plane died, including the Mexican-American star, Jenny Rivera. There is a lot of weird shit with her family and her siblings.
I watched I Love Jenny religiously, and they have the last episode of that series is her performance that night in Monterrey, Mexico, and then the aftermath of it all.
Ooh,
and like her
chills.
family finding out. So sad.
It says, according to later reports, Rivera and her entourage, as well as 2 pilots, had boarded a plane that had been involved in an accident before. What's more, a subsequent investigation found a number of irregularities surrounding the 2 pilots themselves. In the end, Jenny Rivera's death at the age of 43 cut short the life of someone seemingly meant for great things. Though she was already an icon in the Spanish-speaking world, she seemed to be on the precipice of becoming a much bigger star, and this is her heartbreaking story. And I'm gonna skip over kind of like the biography, but it talks about the plane crash December 9th, 2012 at 3:15 a.m. A Learjet carrying Jenny, her lawyer, publicist, hairdresser, and makeup artist, as well as 2 pilots took off from Mexico, and they were supposed to arrive in Toluca before sunrise, but they never made it there. According to USA Today, the twin-engine turbojet dropped off the radar screen about 10 minutes after takeoff. A later investigation found that it had had likely plummeted straight down from 28,000 feet at over 600 miles per hour before it crashed. The plane practically nosedived, according to the Secretary of Communications and Transportation, Gerardo Ruiz Esparza. She died instantly along with the other 6 people on board, but at first her family had held out hope that she somehow survived the crash. Though investigators found her ID among the wreckage, her mother suggested at a press conference that she could have lived. I still trust God that perhaps the body isn't hers, her mom told reporters, suggesting to USA Today that Rivera could have been kidnapped from the crash site. We're hoping it's not true and perhaps someone took her and left another woman there. Did not want to believe it. However, her remains were identified just a few days later. It is 100% confirmed with us that Jenny is no longer with us, her brother Pedro said on December 13th. Following her death, investigators examined what had gone wrong during the plane crash, and according to Billboard, the destruction of the plane made their task difficult, but they did come up with a couple of reasons why the plane may have dropped from the sky. Mexico's General Civil Aviation Administration explained that they were able to rule out certain factors like bad weather, fire, or an explosion. Instead, they suspected the plane had a problem with its horizontal stabilizer. They also noted that the plane was more than 43 years old and had been operated by pilots in the extremes of the span of life, one of whom was 78 years old and the other was 21. Indeed, the Learjet had encountered some serious issues before its doomed flight. The Learjet had previously sustained substantial damage during an accident in which it struck a runway marker while landing in 2005. The older of the 2 pilots, Miguel Perez Soto, technically should not have been allowed to fly the plane. He was not licensed for instrument-controlled flying, and according to Mexican regulations, he was too old to be flying a 6,800-kilo plane like the Learjet. And the younger of the 2 pilots, Alejandro Torres, was not authorized to fly the aircraft outside of the United States. Ultimately, since both flight recorders had been destroyed in the explosion, all the authorities have been able to determine is that the plane crashed due to loss of control of the aircraft for undetermined reasons. In 2016, a judge found that the company that owned the plane was liable for the crash. According to NBC News, Starwood Management LLC was ordered to pay a settlement of $70 million to the families of Rivera's 4 employees. It's just crazy. There's so many like rumors and things we've heard about their death. My ex, his dad, bought a horse from Jenny Rivera's dad. There's a connection.
There's a connection.
Wild. But needless to say, I don't think flying is anything to be scared of. I think you're safer on a plane than you are in a car or on a train. All the fucking train derailments that have been happening lately. Scary. But yeah. That's what I had.
Oh, God, just happy stories always.
What we're bringing.
But that's incredible. I didn't know like a majority of those people had passed on in a plane crash.
Yeah, I think it's just like I love Patsy Cline. I own several of her albums on vinyl. Like she's on my Spotify playlist. Like I listen to her a lot, and there's like a few people on that list that like John Denver is another one. We listen to him sometimes and it's so wild that you just don't know. And I'm like, it makes me want to look into every person that I love from like that era and be like, how did they die? Because it's actually...
You could probably do a whole part too on just the amount of people.
Well, it's wild because I think of like Jane Mansfield is so famous and we've heard about her death. And you and I did a episode on her for Cult Leader. And like, that's such like an infamous death. But I'm like, how do we not remember someone like Patsy Cline died in a plane crash?
I know.
Like, why isn't that as familiar of a story? It's weird.
Well, because Jane Mansfield had so much shit around her.
Yeah, there was a lot fucking going. That episode was wild.
I know.
Wild.
I loved it though.
If you don't know, go fucking listen.
Yeah, because you'll find out.
Well, let's move on to obituaries. I can't think of it. Yeah, let's move to some obituaries. Who you got?
Okay, so Cisco and I have been watching this show on Netflix called Painkiller, and they talked about this in an episode which inspired me to read this obituary today. This is from Sunday, April 15th, 1888, from the I can't even say it. It's in French, so I can't read it. Okay, I'm not even going to try. But it says, "The merchant of death is dead. Dr. Alfred Nobel, who made a fortune by finding ways to kill more people faster than ever before, died yesterday." That's all it says. But in actuality, Alfred Nobel invented dynamite. He was the guy who invented it.
Okay.
But in actuality, the newspaper got it wrong. Alfred Nobel didn't die. It was his brother who had died, but the newspapers got it mixed up and thought it was actually Alfred, the inventor of dynamite.
Oh my God.
So Alfred read his own premature obituary in the newspaper, and I guess it changed his whole entire life. He didn't want to be known as the merchant of death, like they said. He thought he was brilliant for inventing dynamite, and he didn't think he was some murderer. So a few years later, he put in his will and left all of his money, which was close to 200 million US dollars today, or at the time.
That's that dynamite money.
He left it to a foundation that he started, which was the Nobel Prizes. He started the Nobel Prizes because of an obituary.
Oh my God. See? Honest. And this is why we have this show.
I know. And so the Nobel Prizes, I'm sure you guys know, but they're 5 separate prizes given every year to someone who has benefited mankind in some way. That includes the Nobel Peace Prize. Alfred died a year later in 1896, and the first prizes were given out in 1901. So there you have it. His premature obituary started the Nobel Prizes.
Which we're probably more likely to win a Darwin Award.
Absolutely, but we can dream.
A gal can dream. Okay, I have one for Miss Phyllis Jean Corey, and this is incredible. She died on August 19th of 2019 due to complications with her Botox injections and breast augmentation surgery that she was having done to provide for extra flotation in case she fell off the pontoon while fishing. She blames these late life decisions on her not learning how to swim when she was younger. Phyllis was born to Merritt and Stella Needham in San Bernardino, California on November 15th of 1944. After World War II, Phyllis's parents moved back to Michigan, where she grew up around her family in Portage and Kalamazoo. Phyllis played violin with her high school orchestra and graduated Portage High School in 1963. She attended Ferris Institute in Big Rapids, Michigan. Phyllis met the love of her life while attending college and married Glendale Corey on September 10th of 1966. The couple lived in Big Rapids for a short while until the unfortunate incident with the water tower when they decided to live in Portage, Michigan. Phyllis worked at Upjohn Pharmaceuticals for a couple years before becoming a full-time homemaker and raising her 3 children. In order to mitigate the path of destruction made by her 3 children, she volunteered with many organizations for her community. She was active in PTO as a parent, as a den mother for Cub Scout Pack 255, and also volunteered for the Girl Scouts. Phyllis was famous amongst her family and friends for cooking, and it's possible that her fresh-baked dinner rolls were the most requested bread item in the Midwest. One thing about the women in the Midwest, they know how to fucking cook a meal, a hot dish. She swears it was all about the flour, but we still wonder to this day what ingredient she used. Phyllis and Glenn also owned a craft business. While Phyllis created and sold different floral arrangements, thousands of kids across the world had an opportunity to play with her lifelike, hand-sewn fur puppets. Phyllis donated many puppets to soldiers going to Afghanistan to be given to children in that war-torn area, which is so sweet.
So sweet.
Later in life, she took joy in helping her grandchildren, and once again, she served as a Cub Scout leader as her 2 grandsons made their way through Scouts. After she and Glenn retired to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, she was able to spend more time with her 2 passions, fishing and championship pogo stick riding.
Oh my God.
Later, as part of the Witness Protection Program, she and Glenn moved to Mississippi to live with her son. Phyllis attended the orchard where she enjoyed worshiping. I'm like, what is this woman's life? She was preceded in death by her parents, her sister, her husband, and granddaughter, and is survived by her 3 children, as well as several grandchildren. At Phyllis's request, there will not be a funeral. She asked that donations be made to Sanctuary Hospice House as a way of thanking them for the excellent care they gave her.
Oh,
Sweet.
that was great.
Love her.
I love her flotation devices.
Uh-huh.
Oh, God.
Well, we've spun in our coffins.
We've bitched our obituaries.
I guess that means it's time for some dumb
Ask
criminals. Who you got?
I have one written into us, a personal experience with a dumb criminal.
Oh, baby, let's hear it.
It says, hello, Spencer, Madison, Doris, Desi, Hot Dog, and Cisco. He never gets a shout out, so I wanted to include him. My name is Jessica. Yes, you can use my name. And I was listening to your most recent episode, Oh Bitch, We're Panicking, and wanted to share my personal home break-in / dumbass criminal story.
Oh, no.
In October 2021, my father, who lives with me, was in the hospital for a week getting a bypass done on his leg. One night, I went to bed around 3:15 a.m. I'm a night owl like Madison and also a very heavy sleeper. All of a sudden, around 3:45 a.m., I woke up to the feeling of someone lifting the covers off of me.
No.
It felt like waking up from a bad dream. You know, the type where you gasp and try to figure out what's going on. The only thing I thought to say was, "Who are you?" His response was, "It's me. It's me."
No.
It was pitch black in the room, so I didn't know who this person was in the moment, and I tried to rack my brain around who it might be. I thought, did I have someone sleep over and forget they were there? But then I realized that I was damn sure I was the only person who was supposed to be in my house.
No.
Also, it's true that your brain goes through a million different thoughts in just a split second. Luckily, I sleep with my phone right by my side while it's charging, so I grabbed it and turned on the flashlight. My worst fear was coming true.
Oh my God, no.
There was a person that I did not know standing at my bedside.
I would shit.
I would die. I'm not the type of person to scream, so the only thing I could think of was, "I don't know you," in a very stern voice. His response was, "Marcus and Carmine invited me."
Who are Marcus and Carmine?
I said, "No, they did not invite you, and you need to leave."
Oh my God.
He walked to my bedroom door while I followed close behind him, and he tried to give me a hug. Naturally, I told him no. He looked defeated and tried to close the door behind him and walk down the stairs. I needed to make sure he actually left my house, so I followed behind, turning on every light on the way. Somehow he made his way to my bedroom in the far corner of the house with no lights on.
Oh no.
When I got to the bottom of the stairs, I stood in my dining room, which has a clear view of my front door, and watched him open it to leave. From my peripheral view, I saw his shoes on my dining room floor. At least he's a respectful criminal and took off his shoes.
Oh, thank God.
I told him he needed to take his shoes with him. So he came to the dining room and began putting them on. When I decided to say, "Where are you going? Where do you live?" Surprisingly, he told me his address. To be fair, he was wasted and was slurring his words, so I don't even think he knew what he did at the time was wrong.
Aww.
Once he got his shoes on, he tried to hug me again. I declined, but shook his hand so I wouldn't cause him to become upset. I then led him out the door, and I told him how to get to his house because, as it turns out, he's my neighbor. Once he left, I needed to figure out how he got in. Turns out it was my back door. He must have thrown his entire body against my double lock door, which broke the frame and allowed him to get in.
Oh my God, how do you sleep after that?
I know. Also, he didn't realize what he did because he tried to lock the deadbolt behind him, but it didn't work because the door wouldn't close properly. Since I wasn't hurt and nothing was stolen, I didn't think to call the cops, so instead I called my brother-in-law to help me fix the door. For the next 20 minutes, I sat with my back to the door in case he came back. A little bit of a backstory. When I first bought my house, my brother-in-law came over and put 3-inch screws in all of the doors.
Yes.
Or so I thought. When my brother-in-law finally arrived at my house, my adrenaline was still pumping, so I was quickly telling him what door it was and what happened. He then grabbed me and hugged me really hard, which is when I finally realized the severity of the situation.
Oh.
He fixed the door, and naturally he found some screws that he had missed when he first replaced them. So he made sure to pull out all the screws and check to make sure they're all 3 inches. Afterwards, we did a quick walk around the outside of my house to see if anything was messed with. We found a freshly broken piece of fence, no clue where it came from, and a convenience store buffalo chicken wrap, but other than that, things were fine. Once my brother-in-law left, the adrenaline left my body. I got super sweaty and felt like I was going to pass out. I laid down on the couch with an ice pack until I felt better and then went back to my room. I had my room light on and TV on loud because I knew I would be weirded out if I heard any noises. Naturally, I couldn't really sleep, but managed to doze off for about an hour. The next afternoon, my mom and friends told me I needed to file a police report. They were right. What if this person was stalking me? What are the odds that he manages to break in the week my dad was away? So my mom came with me to the police station and I spoke with a very nice detective. Of course, he said, why didn't you call us? People call us for the dumbest stuff all the time. This is something you actually need to call about. I don't know. I wasn't hurt. Nothing was stolen. I just assumed it was some dumb drunk kid. To which he replied, I've been drunk before. I'm sure you've been drunk before. Do you break into people's houses when you're drunk? Because I know I don't. Fair point, I responded. Fortunately, the cops were able to apprehend him quickly because this dumbass criminal told me his address.
Oh my God.
And then she goes on to say, this incident, as well as my dad undergoing major surgery, caused me to not get very much sleep that week. I also should note that I stayed at my friend's house until my dad got back home. This incident also caused me to experience panic attacks more often, so I decided to get some mental health help. Thanks to Lexapro. Woo! I love Lexapro. I was able to move on. About 6 months later, I had to attend court via Zoom. The criminal was facing 6 months in prison and a $1,000 fine. However, I was a sociology major and we discussed recidivism very often. This was a dumb 21-year-old kid who just drank way past his limit. I did not want his future to be destroyed because of some dumb shit he did when he was drunk. So I chose to ask the criminal to undergo drug and alcohol counseling in lieu of jail time. The judge obliged, and as far as I'm aware, he completed his counseling and there have not been any issues since. Thank you so much for taking the time to read this. Obituary and cult leader make me crack up weekly, so I want to thank you for all that you do. Love always, Jessica.
Jessica, holy shit, what a fucking story.
God, I'm sorry that we were laughing, but if someone said, it's me.
Oh my God, it's terrifying. I think it's one of like the scariest things you can imagine happening, and I'm glad you're okay out of all of it.
And I hope that he was just a dumbass criminal.
Yes. And it was just a drunk ass criminal. Just simple mistake.
Uh-huh.
I have what I would say is probably my favorite video.
Oh no.
In obituary history. This, if you look at it, shows a man.
Is it a buffalo? A cow? A bull?
This is a bull.
Oh my God.
And his name is Howdy Doody.
Oh, howdy doody.
And he is riding passenger on the roadway. This article is from NBC. It says a man driving a full-size bull named Howdy Doody in the passenger seat of a beefed-up car was pulled over by police in Nebraska on Wednesday after a stunned onlooker reported the odd sight. Snitch.
God, let him ride.
Let him ride. Officers in Norfolk, about 120 miles northwest of Omaha, were dispatched at 10:05 a.m. for a call for a vehicle with a cow inside rolling through town. I'm like, that ain't touching the ground. It's impressive.
Yeah.
That it was able to carry that load, because we're looking at like a 4-door sedan here. Police assumed the bovine passenger would be a small calf, but what they came upon near the corner of West Norfolk Avenue and North 13th Street was a full-size bull riding shotgun in a 1996 Ford Crown Victoria.
Howdy Doody just wanted to ride.
The car's roof on the passenger side had been removed so that the animal could fit. It's a solid car, so I went on and purchased up and beefed up the frame that was under it, and the suspension, the tires, floor, cut the top off, and we were good to go, the bull's owner, Lee Meyer, said Thursday night. The car is a retired police cruiser from the Nebraska village of Arnold. The idea of turning it into Howdy Doody's wheels had been in Meyer's mind for years, but it took a doubting granddaughter to push him into action. I thought about it. I talked about it. One of my granddaughters said it was a bad idea and that I shouldn't do it. So I had to show her that Grandpa could do it, Meyer said. It might have been a bad idea, but I did it anyways. Howdy Doody is a regular attraction at parades and fairs throughout the Cornhusker state, and police just asked the driver Wednesday to be careful and keep moving. The 9-year-old animal, which is half Longhorn and half Watusi, weighed 2,200 pounds 2 years ago and is probably tipping the scales a little more now, Meyer said. Passenger cars are often retrofitted to transport animals, a State Department of Motor Vehicles attorney said on Thursday. Approval and enforcement of such auto retrofits fall under the responsibility of the Nebraska State Patrol, the DMV attorney said. A representative of that agency could not immediately be reached for comment. Myers said that he's never gotten any type of DMV or police approval for the wheels, and that the stop on Wednesday was the first hint of any issue. I've never had a problem with anyone until Wednesday, Myers said. I just have a car insurance, a license, and private plates. tweets.
Oh my God, I love Howdy Doody.
I love Howdy Doody, and I love that he's like, no, we're going in the car. I'm taking him.
I think about that like with our dogs. I'm like, I want them to see the world. I want them to see more things. And I mean, Howdy Doody deserves it.
Let him see. Oh,
and he doesn't seem stressed or anything.
No, he's fucking chilling. Thelma and Louise in it. I love it.
Oh my God.
Well, I think that's our time. I think it's time for us to go hit the gym.
Oh yeah.
We're gonna go do some push. We're gonna do some push-ups and upside down ones, actually.
Oh, I'm going to be doing pull-ups. So.
I actually have a video of you or a picture. I don't know why. I think you had been maybe having a little wine in the hotel room when we were in somewhere.
Uh-huh.
And I have a footage of you doing a headstand in a hotel room.
Oh, yeah.
Notorious.
Probably.
when drunk Madison comes out, so do the headstands.
Uh-huh.
Impressive. But we'll be back to impress you all next week if you could be so kind to join us again for some more coffin spinners.
Obituaries.
And dumb
ass
criminals. Goodbye.
Goodbye.